Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, alright. 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 Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, al Listen, babe. Oh, yeah. It's alright, alright, alright.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
What's
Um,
happening? What's happening?
we have another class today planned for you. Listen, before we get started, Court is still going to be the dominant teacher today, but I want everybody to make sure you log into Miro because we're going to do a couple of exercises. Plus, we want to go over last week's exercise. And today, I set up Miro. If you want to use Miro today, I have all the slides on Miro. We can actually comment on the slides. So um, once court gets started, I'm going to shift. Or if you stay in Miro, I'm going to pull everybody over to the slide section. And so as court is going through session, you can directly respond to that. Court will have visibility on that. I will have visibility on that. And we can engage in a deeper conversation to start feeling comfortable asking complex questions that are relative to not only the class but to our own personal business. So as Court goes through the slides, you're going to see a section that says you agree, you slightly agree, or you disagree, right? And what that will do is allow you to post your comments in the section, and then we can respond. And I want to make this class kind of a two-way process. So I don't want it to be about just a monologue. I want to start driving towards dialogue and interaction. Now, when you want to leave a comment, don't use the post-it notes. When you go to the toolbar on the left side, use the notes. And when you leave a note, that will allow us to see who left the note and have a response. So make sure that you log into Miro. I'm gonna give you guys a chance to log into Miro, and so I'm gonna go over a couple of things while you take a moment to log into Miro. But let me go over this real quick. I just want to share a side note. I know Court is going to tap into this subject because I got a chance to see his slides. I'm going to say something that I probably haven't said in this class. I heard last week that I don't know if you heard about this. Let this go by. I heard last week that Louis Farrakhan gave his last, they call it a swan message. And the swan message implies that this might be his last speech ever. And you guys know I'm not Christian or Muslim. But what I do respect is a person who have served their people their whole life. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, thanks to that man for serving our community and our culture.
Absolutely.
Whole life.
Absolutely.
I don't think you guys understand how powerful. So first of all, part of being mature is learning to see a person who's given the world a lot, that you may disagree with some things and still see the value they brought to the world, right? You can't like anybody in history if you're going to judge history from a complete Puritan space. Mm-hmm. Every great leader is flawed. Every great leader is flawed. So if you're going to embrace anybody historically, you have to be able to see the good and the bad. And why am I bringing up Louis Farrakhan as somebody I'm saying, hey, I want to say thank you for all the work you've done in our community? It's kind of tied to a business point I want to make. So, we always talk about this, how our people suffering, like that, I saw the bear. We always talk about how our people are suffering because they don't feel valued or don't feel like they're good enough. And I just want to share this one methodology around self-value. Self-value is often compromised because we place our value in the wrong place. Quite often we place our value on materials. We place our value in reputation, popularity, things that can be taken away from you by others. If you want to have a healthy, strong sense of value, your value should come from two things, mainly two things, but other things, but mainly two things. One, your integrity. What do you stand for? What do you stand for? Are you consistent in what you stand for? And two, how you serve others. I think we get this confusion that service and servitude is the same thing. See, servitude is a reflection of what slavery was. Servitude is what the poor man has to do for the rich man. Service is what people of power do. I have to service my community. I have to service my clients. I have to service my employees, because you don't become a leader if you don't service. Leadership is a service. You are always in service of everything around you to be a leader. You have to almost humble yourself to the process to rise up to become a leader. So many of us think that being a leader is being a hero. And when I look at somebody like Louis Farrakhan, he was actually in a role of service. And matter of fact, if you watch Farrakhan closely, the man evolved a lot. He changed his position because as he learned better, he did better, right? But that's all part of the process of servicing. And so in a sense, I think we miss this message. So many of us thinking that, oh, I want money to make my life better. I'm chasing happiness. I want to be popular. I want to be recognized. I want to be valued by people around me, and that's why you will never achieve it. If you want to achieve those things, show up. For example, if you think about the people you love the most, it's people with those two things, integrity and their service to the community. All you'll hear, even Michael Jordan serviced us in entertainment. If Michael Jordan was a great basketball player and we never got a chance to see him make a move, there's no value on Michael Jordan. So the reality is that I think we got this hero culture,
This boss
culture, which is an ignorant ass culture.
It is.
Because if you really want to be a boss of many, I mean, you have to look. How do you run your business if your product doesn't service their needs? How is that fucking possible?
I don't know.
But yet, I see these people running around here. This is where your ego, your passion, and all these other things start to distort it, right? Oh, I'm just never happy. Happy wasn't never meant to own. It's an experience you will come across here and there. But what gives you absolute satisfaction with life is how you show up to life. And you will never get satisfaction only showing up for yourself. Your satisfaction, your empowerment, your growth, your motivation to become better, your ability to override your own biases and weaknesses come from servicing others. So it's just amazing to me. And so when I think about that and I hear that he's having a swan message, which may be his last message, I want to salute that man and say, yo, thank you for that work you put in. I didn't agree with everything you said. I don't think every move you made, but that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's like you have to acknowledge those. That man could have easily just said, man, I'm about to get me a Cadillac and ride around the street and have the baddest Muslim chicks in my ride. He could have took that position all day long. He could have been sitting somewhere eating caviar, talking to white folks about, let me tell you what black people should do. That dude put himself in a line of fire. He lost popularity. He probably lost sponsorship, money, all kind of shit in the name of, I'm rocking for my people. So I don't care about his perfections to imperfections, because that's part of any leader in this world got all that. And matter of fact, once you get into a Puritan mind of what a leader should be, you will never become a leader. Because guess what? All leaders are imperfect. Matter of fact, you almost have to be imperfect to be a leader. And the reason many of us never become leader, because the harshness that we place on leaders, we place the same harshness on ourselves, not allowing ourselves to have the flexibility to be a human and lead other human beings. So I wanted to just kind of drop that as a thought, because I ain't supposed to be stealing his time. He gonna reclaim his time in 1 second. But I just want to say that every once in a while, it was something that really like it touched my heart because when I heard like, damn, it's gonna be his last message. He's been around, with me. I've been rocking with the cat since the '90s, and I've heard so many messages from him. He's inspired me on a lot of stuff. I learned a lot of stuff. There's some things I disagree with, but what I love the most is he didn't service us. We talked about self-help. He wasn't making billions off of just, I'm going to service black people and get us all inspired. And you can be a leader, and you can be a leader, and you can be a leader. And he makes billions of dollars and all the things he does. That man said, I'm committed to whatever the truth is and wherever the truth is leading me. And so whether you agree with his truth or not is irrelevant. You have to admire his service. So with that being said, I'm going to salute Farrakhan. So hopefully you guys got a chance to get into, let's see if you guys got into the room yet. Okay, I only see maybe 5 or 6 people. Okay, well, I want to also say real quick, Tavita, I want to thank you for your contributions. I looked at a lot of your contributions and a lot of things you said in here. I got a chance to see that. But if you guys can log in, like I said, we're going to make it where I'm going to try to make class more interactive. And after today, we're going to have a little homework lesson. So I want to go through some of the food desert challenges that were mentioned by you guys in the class and see if we're in alignment or not. You okay? If you just go to what's the name of it, it'll automatically connect. You don't have to worry about it. If you just do the connection here, it'll automatically flip over.
It's not working.
Oh, is it plugged in? Is it? Just check and see if the HDMI is plugged in. It might be loose or something. All right, so anyway, let me jump into this real quick. Let's look at some of these examples of challenges. So in the economic challenges, somebody said, it might be Tavita, it said community investment by local municipalities. Another one was grocery store placements that provide healthy food choices. It was one of the limits to why we have food deserts. Another one was check-to-check limited resources for healthy foods. I mean that most customers can't afford healthy foods. Another one was being in a drought when wanting to being in a drought when wanting to wanting to have healthy foods for yourself. I guess you left the word have out. Another one was lack of agricultural access, not having land or proper resources to grow food at home. Does 300 billion opportunity mean? So let me go over this real quick. The goal is by the time we finish this exercise, these limitations will be seen as opportunities. Each one of these limitations you guys posted is actually an opportunity. Look, the fastest way to become successful is solve cultural problems. When you solve problems, you open up opportunities. At one point, if I wanted to get in contact with Court, I had to jump on my horse, ride, or jump on my bicycle and ride and wait for him to get home. And somebody said, hey, let's create this thing called telephone. Multi-billion-dollar industry. Somebody at one point said, if you want your car to go fast, you had to use leaded gas. Somebody came along and said, let's do this shit electrical. Potentially multi-billion-dollar industry. All of these challenges you're going to be facing in this class, I didn't ask you to do this process because I wanted to see what are the limitations. I want you to look at these challenges, and I want you to, when you go home or when you look at these challenges, I want you to post a note. So notice if you take your mouse, it's called comments. Actually, it's called comments. If you hover your mouse over the icon that says comments, which is under the pin one, I want you guys to take every limitation that you see here, and I want you to tell me how it could possibly be a business opportunity. Right? So every limitation. So now the only limitation I think that's kind of wasn't a limitation, and this is something I think I want to stop and talk about class. Somebody says, does 300 billion opportunity mean the money to be made by making food accessible, or does it mean opportunities for those profiting off the desert? You should always profit when you help people. Otherwise, how is this sustainable? You can't sustain anything if you don't produce a profit. If you have a nonprofit and you're not thinking about profit, how do you sustain yourself 10 years on the road? We cannot demonize money. That's almost a religious poor people thing. Matter of fact, many of you guys were taught this to keep you poor. You have to see profit is the way you drive infrastructure, culture, and change. So if I build a business, your goal is to maximize profit to make sure you make food accessible. Even if by maximizing profit, you can provide jobs to create better opportunities. Even if you maximize profit to drive down costs, to give better opportunities of better eating, you want to maximize profit. It's what you do with the profit is where the immoral act can take place, right? So if you take the profit to drive better opportunities and better options for the community, excellent. If you take the profits to exploit the weaknesses of the community and then leave them high and dry, that's a different argument within itself. In this class, we try to teach sustainable business growth. Sustainable business growth is how do you grow your business and have impact at the same time? How do you grow your business and improve your family at the same time? How do you grow your business and you help yourself at the same time? We're not driving this business towards success is the end all to where we're trying to go with this, because we know success by itself is empty. If success is tied to a bigger meaning and purpose in your life, then success becomes a wonderful tool and it definitely colors your life. But if it's driven towards that's the end goal, which he talked about last week, then that in itself is almost it's almost an empty goal. So let's never, ever, ever demonize profit. Never, ever, ever demonize profit. Profit means jobs. Profit means better schools. Profit means better health. Profit means better housing. Profit means better decision making. If you don't make a big profit, you can't make good decisions. You need profit. When you run your business, look, if you demonize profit, sorry, Court, I'm gonna get out your way in a second. If you demonize profit, I know, I like that, like I'm reclaiming my time. If you demonize profit, when it comes time for you to charge a client, you won't be able to do it properly. You have to learn how to build with the mindset of slack. Run a business with slack. Slack allows you to run a smart business that can evolve and keep up with the changes of society. When you run a tight, scarcity-based business, you will kill yourself based on scarcity alone. So often I hear people, oh, I'm doing good business, but they charge these minimal invoices. One of the things I used to teach in this class is go home and raise your fucking prices. But when you raise your prices, adjust your business to the way you raise your price. Don't go out and try to find a new product. Maybe deliver your product better to your customer. So if you deliver it in a brown paper bag, here you go. Maybe you go now raise your prices and go buy boxes with a portion of that increase in prices and change the delivery of your product. So now the person feels like, oh my God, it's more valuable to deliver. Because at the end of the day, you're not in the business of products, you're in the business of delivering value to people. And too many of you guys get anchored into like this low pricing and I'm going to come in at the lowest because at the end of the day, you don't feel like you're good enough and you don't think that you're smart enough, you don't think you're qualified enough, so you try to come in at the lowest anchored price. What I need you to do is think differently about business. If you're not making a profit, you can't make any investments. If you're not making investments, we can't compete with .com culture. .com came from businesses investing in other businesses becoming impactful. A lot of you guys are screaming about racism. The reason you're dealing with racism because you never made enough profit to create your own solutions for your own problems. Make profit, people. Don't ever demonize profit. Don't ever demonize profit. So use the notes section and look at these, choose a problem, a business problem, and I need you to just add how this is a business opportunity. Right? Now, next thing, this is the last thing on this point, then we'll go to a fun exercise real quick. When you think about a business opportunity, let's say the problem is we don't have, I'm gonna make up an example. Let's say you say, we don't have a Kaiser in East Oakland. Don't try to think about, well, how can I build a Kaiser in East Oakland, right? That's the opposite of chunking. You're taking on too much, and your brain's going to become self-defeated. Go back and figure out what was Kaiser in its beginning. It was a house that provided a service. How could that show up today? What's the smallest dwindle down version of Kaiser you can come up with? Is it I'm providing Band-Aids and shots, and I'm providing cough medicine, the basic needs, right? And then over time, that can morph and evolve through complex business decisions into a full-out Kaiser in the black community. The problem with this also, sometimes we try to match white folks' development of 80 to 100 years of the same industry to my theory in today, right? And it's not saying that you can't, if you get the funding, you can't do a leapfrog from 0 to 100. But what's the plan if it's just 3? What's the plan if it's 5? What's the plan if it's 10? I had a friend, Marlon, not that Marlon. This is Marlon that's cool-ass brother from Oakland. He used to work for the school district. If you know Marlon, everybody knows Marlon, right? East Bay Dragon, everything. But got a degree from Cal Berkeley. Marlon owns a transportation business with multiple buses and vans. When Marlon started his business, he was working for the school district, and it's like, we're really frustrated because the transportation system is doing a horrible job. So Marlon's like, yo, if I provided the same service at this cost, y'all give me the contract. So he did the numbers. He said, I could even come in $10 cheaper than they are. He's like, oh, we're doing it in a heartbeat. You're part of our system. You know what our needs are. Let's do it. Marlon went down to Enterprise, found his partner that worked there, and said, no, first he went down and spent $30 for a business license. He went to Enterprise and said, hey, my man, we folks, we known each other for some time. Can you rent me a van and rent me some buses, and I come to you, right? So every time he rented a bus and he paid employee, I think it was $15, $20 an hour to take the people from point A to point B, Marlon realized that every time the bus goes out, he's gonna make about $300, right? But he was doing rental. And then Enterprise found out that somebody, like, who's this guy renting all these buses? And they don't rent to corporations for that, right? So he's like, yo, you can't do that anymore. So Marlon's like, okay, that's cool, that's whatever. So at this point, he took all the money he made, he spent none of that money on like being glamorous and flawed. He went back to the school and said, hey, look, I'm in a dilemma here. I need to actually purchase some buses. What can I do with you guys where I can get $75,000 up front? He took it, and they said, well, what we can do is we can loan you $75,000, and then we can tax your future invoices. He said, y'all do that for me? He said, yeah. So he took the $75,000 and he bought 4 buses. Then he went to, I think he said he went to another rental car company, and he actually signed up for a corporate account, so he had access to a few more buses. He said, I worked that shit for 5 years. He says, now I have about 30 or 40 buses, right, that he owns, right? He has employee staff. He said, I hit my first million 3 years ago. He took a small-ass idea and went out there and started pulling relationships and made things work and passion. And then as he got more money, he made it more and more legitimate. That's Shakina's story. That's my story. I'm sure that's Court's story, right? So solving a problem doesn't mean you go from equal performance in the market. Is how do you start at the smallest common denominator, and how can you turn that into an opportunity that can grow into one of the largest of the common denominators? You guys get where I'm going with this? So I want you guys to take that opportunity. Now, here's a fun exercise. Give you guys, we're going to have 5 minutes on this. I'm going to turn this feature on. Hold on a second. Pull everybody to the exercise. If you're in the group right now, I'm going to pull everybody to me. Hold on a second. Let me go over here. This exercise we're about to do is called bad to worse. Hold on a second. Let me just show you real quick. Oh. There you go. Okay, so I brought everybody over here. So everybody's now looking at the bad to worse, right? I'm gonna span this real quick. Now the bad to worse is I want you guys reach over to the comments section, so we can load this up. So if you highlight it, it says see comments. I want you guys to pull a comment and drop a comment in this box anywhere. What is the worst idea you could come up with? It can even be funny to solve the food desert problem in the black community. I don't want you to give me the worst, most horrible idea possible. We're going to take about, let me see, I'm going to put a timer on this real quick. Hold on a second. I want you to give me the worst. I'm talking about, I want you to think about, I want to solve the food desert problem in the black community, and I want you to give me the worst known idea to man. And so just pull a comment, click on the comments, and then click in the middle of the box and write in any comment you could come up with is the worst possible human idea in the world of how to solve the food desert problem. And have fun with it, make it comedy. We're going to bring some of this up at the beginning of next class. I'm probably going to just let Court bring it up and just tell jokes with it. And then the homework for this, when we get through with this, we'll go over the homework in a minute. But just the worst possible idea. So 7 minutes starting now. Dun, 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 dun. All right, y'all. These are some good responses. We got 2 minutes and 50 seconds. This is some good stuff. Those of you who are in the chat room, Shabisha's going to send you a link to Miro. That way you can guys be a part of the Miro exercise. Plus, we're going to have all the slides are going to be in Miro. I'm going to pull the slides in a minute, and if you guys want to comment while we're going through classes, the goal is to elevate the communication online. So even though you're not here, because you're online, you should be able to have we want to have stronger communication. Plus, listen, a lot of people in this class, we're spread out all over the United States, and we all have different realities and challenges that we're dealing with. And so give us an opportunity to share some of your challenges so we can work together to solve these problems and help you grow your businesses or be more successful in your leadership efforts. And so, just share with us, when we start the class, I want to hear back from you. Let's not be passive listeners. Also, let me say this too. In business, no one's expecting you to be super knowledgeable. You learn as you go. You learn as you go. You can take all the classes in the world. It has nothing to do with once you're actually in the game and you're doing business, you're going to discover there's so many variances to the knowledge you have that you're still learning as you go. And if you can embrace learning as you go and stop trying to value yourself based upon the amount of knowledge you have, you'll go way, way further. You guys done went with these post-it
Little
notes.
Debbie's and tuna.
Yeah, this stuff is hella funny. Pray the hunger away. Food competition to feed your family. Put a satellite Whole Foods on every corner. Somebody said give $150. Food stamps, everyone. Free food community cafeteria. Genetically modified food for those who can't afford real food. Somebody just said starve them.
Fuck them.
Yeah, look, I say go as you can. Somebody said old school soup kitchen. Oh, Jesus Christ, Lord have mercy. Jesus, woo.
Jedi mind trick.
Yeah. Somebody said aerosol tablets. Aerosol tablet-based food. This is horrible. Somebody said cannibalism. Oh, my, hey, y'all sick. They say pay households to eat vegetables after take photos of family and create billboards. That's fucked up. Oh my God, that's fucked up. Oh my God. Oh man. Man, some of y'all need Jesus. Hey, Chris Foster Church, next week I'll meet y'all there. Yeah, y'all killing it. Somebody said, don't feed the elderly.
Let them die. That's fucked up.
Oh, God, I'm enjoying this. Oh, this is hilarious. Oh, my God. This is great. All right, y'all. Time up. You can still do this exercise a little bit later. So there's two homework assignments for class. Go on the Miro board this week. Look at the problems and challenges, and I want you to use the comment tool, and place your comment on top of the post-it, and I want you to highlight the business opportunity. The second homework assignment is I want you guys to go learn about food deserts, because as we build this business, part of the challenge of building a business is you have to get out of your head. Your head is the first limitation of building anything. Whatever you think is a limit. Whatever you think is a limit. And don't think because you called your friend to rehearse your dumbass idea, it's a good idea. It's still a fucking limit. I don't give a shit if your friend say, I never thought about that. That shit sounds great. Your mama saying, oh, that's my baby. I knew you was going to be successful. It's still a fucking limit, people. Until there's a demand for your idea, you don't have a good business. Let me say this again. Until there's a demand for your idea, which is your product or service that you're going to deliver to the market, you don't have a business. You don't have a business because it's a beautiful concept. You don't have a business because everybody likes the way it sounds. You don't have a business because you have a business license, and you definitely don't have a business because you have a logo. Until there's a demand for your products and service, you don't have a business. So the first way you get out of your head is you go learn about the industry you wish to attack. So I want you guys to just jump on Google. I want you guys to be creative and be investigative, turn into Sherlock motherfucking Holmes. And I want you guys to go into the industry and look for different information and clues about food deserts. Because when we get to our next exercises, each one of you need to be participants in how to think about food deserts. You can no longer just be somebody who heard about it and be like, that's messed up. Oh, hell no. That needs to stop tomorrow. You can't be that person no more. Once you move from, I don't like it and I want to do something about it, you're going to have to own the knowledge. Now, we know nobody's building a food desert here, so you don't need to be a PhD in food deserts. But you got to have enough knowledge to give a healthy opinion. And because we're going to be working together as a team, nobody needs team members who are not putting the work in. So if you don't put the work in, I want you to participate in these future exercises by just being passive engagers. But when we work on team efforts, then I'm expecting you to invest in the process. Why are we doing this? Because I'm trying to teach you the basics of running good businesses. Good businesses. And so this exercise we engaged in, we're going to come back to it next week, which is so bad. You guys are so horrible. So with that being said, I'm about to snatch everybody over to, hold on a second. All right, so everybody, I just pulled you into the section of the class. As you guys can see, one second. So, agree, not sure, disagree. This is going to be the session. We're going to start using this as a slide. So if you guys want to follow us online, as you follow Court, you'll be able to see, this is what we're going to be using as we go through the slides where you'll be able to give your opinion. And this will allow you to participate in the process. So I'm going to give the first 3 slides. And so I'm going to turn the course over to the Grand Poobah, the most wonderful, the magnificent. I know he's going to be like, if you say that shit one more time, I swear to God, bro. But anyway, I'm going to turn this class over to Court. He has a lot of cool stuff. I looked at his slides. He has some weight he's about to bring. I'm really excited about hearing what he's about to teach tonight. I don't even know it in details. I just see the subject matters. And so if you guys want to make a comment about agree, not sure, or disagree, just click on the comment, which is a C, or hit the letter C, and then post a comment in the section that represents where you stand. And what we're going to do is use this as data to understand what's resonating and where do we need to dig deeper into. So we see that once you guys disagree, that will allow us to say, hey, let's circle back on that and give a deeper explanation, or even hear back from you and change the lesson. So we're working together to make Hope dope. Hope is not dope because we're some great gurus and you're some great followers. Hope is going to be great because great minds come together to produce great solutions, all right? So with that being said, I'm going to step into the exit stage left, and I'm going to try to control the board behind the scenes. And so let's ride with Court on this. And Court, thank you, bro. Take over.
That was dope. Hope, dope, that rhymes. All right. Let's get into it. All right, let's get it. So this is going to be the last class speaking on the Code of Extraordinary Mind. Probably the last time we're going to teach it moving forward, because we're always trying to evolve the lessons and extract the nuggets and get to the concentrate of things so that we can figure out better ways of how to teach and how we can get results in each other. But before we get into it, I want to talk about a couple topics. One, this first one, speed and velocity. It came from a conversation I had from one of the students about the typical how you doings, right? Hey, how you doing? And it was, man, I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm busy. And then it said the word busy in a good way. Like being busy was the shit, or being busy was the key to success. And so it reminded me of the Mental Models book. And I know Nana's going to go deeper into it later on in the second half of this year, but I wanted to just touch on it a little bit, just sprinkle it a little bit so that it's in your brain, so when it hits the next time, it can resonate deeper. A lot of us, we confuse speed and velocity. It's similar. Similar. Speed and velocity have a similar ring to it, but there's a huge difference between speed and velocity. Speed, you can be running 25 miles an hour on a treadmill, and you're in that speed. You can take 2 steps, and that's velocity. So it's a clear distinction between the two. A lot of times, when we fill our day with shit, we spent that whole day running on a treadmill, running as fast as we could, and we're exhausted, man. And then somebody asks you, "Hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing, man?" "I'm busy." Oh, so you're fast. You have speed, but what'd you do? How far did you get, and where you want to go? You look, shit, I ain't going nowhere. You have no velocity. So you have to convert your mentality from a speed mentality to a velocity mentality. And it doesn't matter how far you get. This is not a motherfucking a sprint. It's a marathon. So if you got 2 steps today, you moved forward. If you got 1 step today, you move forward. That's way better than being hella busy. Way better than being hella busy. And that goes for everything in life, not just business. This is an entrepreneurship class, but it's also a you class. So when it comes to different aspects, topics in your life outside of entrepreneurship, it's the same philosophy. You want velocity. If you're trying to quit doing anything, quit smoking, quit doing this, you're trying to lose weight, you want to get to your best self, you want to adopt new habits, it doesn't matter. You approach it with velocity. I'm not going to go, if a person goes to the gym for 8 hours, is he good for the week? No. You just work the fuck out in one day, but you don't have 0 velocity if you don't show up for the rest of the week. None. So adopt a velocity mentality moving forward in life. If you adopt a velocity mentality, you look at everything different. Even in sales, somebody coming, they fast talking to you, blah, 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 blah. They running, you just imagine them running on a treadmill. Because at the end of the day, what do you want? What are you trying to say? Where are we trying to go? What's the solution? What's the end goal? All that's a velocity thinking. Man, but he just sounds so good. He was so articulate. He was dressed nice. She got all these celebrity friends around them. They got 100,000 followers. She got 1 million followers. All that speed shit. What are you doing? What happened? Where'd you go? How closer did you get to your goal? How closer did you get to your where you wanted to be? How stronger did you get? That's where your thinking goes. Velocity thinking says, as long as I can use the power of compound interest to my benefit, it means if I can progress even 1% in where I want to go and what I want to do, over time that's going to compound, and I'm going to be in a dramatically different place than I was today. Period. If I'm reading a whole bunch of books, going to a whole bunch of classes, going to a whole bunch of seminars, reading some more books, watching some more, listening to podcasts, audio books, and I ain't done shit with none of the knowledge, you're You're in a speed space, you're running on a treadmill, hella fast. And guess what? You're in shape. So people come to you like, man, what are you doing? Man, I'm just so busy. You know, I know this, I know that, I know this, I know that. Man, cool. What's your bank account look like? How much money you making? Well, I got it's gonna happen. It's on the way. Or I haven't finished my business plan yet. I'm just waiting on the business plan. You got no velocity. Versus somebody who has a third, maybe even an eighth of the knowledge that you got, but they just walk out there into the fire and start trying shit. Boom, and they failed, crashed, got up, tried again, failed, got up, tried again, learned from it, failed, got up, tried again, a little bit better, a little less of a failure. That happens 8 or 9, 10 times, then their failure ratio dramatically reduces, and now they're on their way. I got some dope ass artist friends who dope rappers and singers who've been working on their album for like 15 years. Too scared to put the shit out. You've been on a treadmill running for 25 years, ain't done nothing, ain't putting nothing out. Great business ideas, conversations with people talking about this person stole my idea, this company stole my idea, I thought of that hella long time ago. Well, where were you at? I was running on a treadmill. Well, what the fuck you think was supposed to happen? Velocity thinking. Now we talking. What did you do? Man, I tried that thing that you talked about and it didn't work. Good. That's dope. There we go. That's what's up. That juices me. Because consciously and subconsciously, you made a distinction. You learned something. You absolutely learned something. So remember that. Be a velocity thinker, meaning you're steeped in the idea of moving forward. You want to move your needle forward at all times in everything you do. We want to be velocity thinkers and be conscious of when you're stuck on your own treadmill. Be acutely aware of when you're on your own treadmill. What are you sitting there afraid to make the jump for? Oh shit, what things in your life are you still on a treadmill? It could be in business. Man, I've been wanting to do this thing for so long and I've been playing with, I did all the research on the internet, I didn't print out everything, you didn't research yourself to death. You know the shit better than the company that you're researching. But you on that treadmill and you scared. Move something, do something. Even if it's a little bit, do something, move. Now you're in a velocity space and you can let mathematics and God and the universe and you and your friends be a part of this. You'd be surprised when you take action, the energy that you attract and the energy and the velocity that you create when you decide to do something. Any questions on that? Speed and velocity. Yeah, leave comments.
My bad. So my question is, a lot of times when you are trying to get off the treadmill, or I refer to it as a hamster wheel. I've been on a lot of hamster wheels. It's very easy to confuse the transition between speed and velocity, because you're taking action that makes you feel like you're doing something, but then, so I guess what my question is, how do you discern the difference between the two when you're trying to make the transition, when you clearly know you're focusing, when your actions are ending in speed instead of velocity?
Can you give me an example?
So I've had my business for 7 years. The first 5 was purely like, I'm gonna work more hours, I'm gonna work 7 days a week, I'm gonna work for 15 hours a day because I need to make this money. The last 2 years has been, how do I work smarter, not harder? But when I was making that transition, I was being very focused in scarcity with like not wanting to spend a hire to get the right support, not understanding that by me giving myself downtime, I was actually creating room for growth instead of just like I thought I was being lazy because I was trying to create thinking time. So just like I guess just because I believe that I'm going on another hamster wheel because I'm moving, and so that requires a lot of change, and I've gotten comfortable, and so I know that right now I am leaning more towards the speed side, and I'm trying to figure out how do I make that pivot to get back to velocity, because there's a lot of busy work when you move, right? So it's like there's things you have to do, but then it's like how do you make sure that you don't fall back into that speed trap?
Well, I will answer the question. I'll say partially not for you because I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Your action. You, like everything you just said was action. Because that work still has to get done. Like that? All that work has to get done. I think the key to it is the fear piece. You can justify running on a treadmill, hella easy. But if you could step outside of yourself and say, what am I afraid of? What am I running from? What am I distracting myself from? A lot of it boils down to fear. You're afraid of something. Afraid of failure, afraid of success, afraid of rejection, afraid of something to prevent you from getting off the treadmill and running in real life. A lot of it boils down to fear. One thing I know about you gonna try some shit. You gonna go for it. You gonna find out all the information you can about it, and you might. There's some limitations that you might run into mentally, but you're gonna try some shit. So, I think it's still a great question because for someone else, they're thinking that. Right? One is think, the other is do. And as long as you're able to move yourself to do, even if you're scared while you're doing, as long as you're doing, now you have velocity. Go ahead. Yeah, we got one question right here. Go ahead, brother. No. Keep it. Oh,
It wasn't a question. It was I easily answered.
okay.
Oh, you don't want to do the pink note?
Sorry, I was looking on YouTube. I got you. I'm supposed to be looking on there.
All right. Go ahead with your question.
Is there a period where speed is okay? In the sense, using your analogy for the gym, and it might be like you said, fear of taking out and failure and all those things. But part of being in the gym or reading all those books is to build that knowledge, build your muscles up. Nothing can prepare you for when you step out there, of course, but just to have a working knowledge. So is there a time where speed is actually okay for a certain phase, but at some point you got to put the books down, the podcast down, all that other stuff down, and get to work? So that's my question.
Yeah, great question. So the question was, is there a time when speed is okay? Meaning, is there a time or place for the books, the audio books, or everything? Is there a time? Absolutely. But this is, to me, the differentiation, is that at a particular time in your journey, those books, those audio books, those podcasts, those seminars are velocity because you start with zero knowledge. You start with nothing. So maybe you have this vision of being an entrepreneur or being better in your relationships or being better with your kids, and you have no clue what to do. So step one is I need to get a book to read. That's velocity. That's velocity. Or I don't know. Let me go to a class. Let me go to a seminar. Let me go to something. Let me learn about this. That is part of velocity. What I'm stating is, at a certain point, if 3 years from now, 4 years from now, that's all you're doing and you haven't taken one step out into the space to apply any of that, then you're stuck on the treadmill. And a lot of us are. A lot of us are. And it seems simple, but a lot of us are stuck on that treadmill. And the feeling of being busy, it gratifies us enough to do it again the next day.
So on Miro, the question was, just to be clear, that the definition of velocity is speed in a given direction? Is that what that's what you're meaning when you say velocity?
Sure. Sure. Mm-hmm. Is that helpful? Is that good? All right. Let's move to the next.
You need to break it in Miro because they're saying some good stuff here. It said, so somebody said, I'm stuck on a treadmill right now. Oh, was that? 1 second. So, okay, somebody said, hey, y'all, I often get stuck in thinking and planning mode, and then I get delayed. And the other person, the one I'm going to read, it says, I'm stuck on a treadmill right now. Getting off feels like a luxury connected to my fear of scarcity. I've been telling myself I'm waiting for a certain thing to be in place, and I'm using it as an excuse to justify why I'm still on the treadmill. That was fire. Estelle, that was fire. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thank you. That's why we talked about this. I know that's the pervading feeling across the board. And thank you for sharing that honesty and sharing that truth, because we've all been there, or some of us are here now. I'm gonna give you some game though. There's no fun way to do it. There's no fun way to get off that treadmill. It's one of those moments where you have to feel the fear and do it anyway. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Did you have the mama that made you fight the bully? I did. Man, wait, what? Wait, so he chased you home? You better take your ass back outside the house and you better fight him or I'm going to fight you. What? You going to fight me? So at that point, you got to feel the fear and do it anyway. And then you realize, damn, I just socked him 3 times in a row. While I'm crying, I'm windmilling the fuck out of this kid. And now, guess what? You ain't running from no bullies no more. But your wall of fear is so high that your brain is telling you that it's almost equivalent of you're going to die. It's almost that strong. It's a wall of fear that's high and thick. And what you have to do is override that by creating leverage in yourself, and we're going to talk about leverage next. Creating leverage in yourself to where you're never going to get to a place where you're like, it's a door that's going to open, and it's going to be like, oh, okay, I don't feel the fear. Let me get off this treadmill and take my first step. No. It's, let me take this first step. I'm scared as hell, but let me take this first step. And let me take another one. And all I want to do this next day is just take one step. That's it. Whatever else happens, I'm not tripping. I just need to take this one step today to prove to myself and to build the momentum and a mental fortitude to say I can do it. And that counterbalances that wall of fear. When you actually take a step, and you look around and you're not dead, that wall of fear keeps getting lower and lower and lower and lower and easier and easier and easier. But it ain't gonna be no walk in the park. yeah, the shit that you think might happen might happen. But as long as you can wake up that next day and go again. Straight up. Because think about this. What will your life look like 20 years from now? And you never took that first step. Look at yourself in the mirror. Feel the feeling. What the fuck? How would that feel to know that for 20 years you was a straight mark? You just was to yourself. And whatever that product or service or great thing that you were going to deliver to the world, they never got to experience it only because you was afraid. What? Your purpose on this planet was halted, and God had to go give it to somebody else because of your scary ass. Think about that 20 years from now. And now, guess what? Whoever else did it, or however it got spread out to the rest of the world, the universe, every time you walk past them or turn on a commercial or look at the situation, you like, damn. And you got to show up to that whack-ass job that you settled for, or relationship, or whatever that you settled for because you're afraid to get off the treadmill. Come on, blood. I can't live, like, to me, that's worse than death. To not live your purpose? Failing, I can sleep good at night if I failed at my purpose. I sleep like a baby. But to not live it because I was scared, that keep me up at night. The bullies that I got beat up by before I decided to stand up to the one, that still keeps me up at night. I wish I can go find the motherfuckers now just to even the shit out. So just when you bring yourself back to the present moment, know that it ain't happened. You can do it. You can go. You just need leverage. You don't understand the idea of leverage. And you can use leverage on yourself. Let's go to the next slide. And these, again, this one as well will be discussed in the next 6 months, in the other half, from the Mental Bottles book, which is an amazing, amazing book. So, leverage. Leverage is one of man's greatest inventions. Leverage is one of man's greatest inventions. And this is a tool, an entrepreneur's tool that you can use to help you advance, multiply, and create more velocity in your growth and in the way you generate revenue, just in life. Leverage is a powerful tool that you need in your toolbox. Close, though. Not in the toolbox that's in that's in a roll around toolbox, the one you got on your belt. What leverage says is, the definition of leverage is when you achieve significantly greater results than the force that you put in. That's leverage. It means 1 + 1 = 400. Most of us move in this fairness world where it only feels good to you if 1 + 1 = 2 for you. They say you get out what you put in. I only want back what I put in. That's not how the world works. It's not how the universe works. If you are in space right now and you push off of something, how long will you float at that velocity? Forever until you hit something. So what leverage means is that You take a fulcrum, a basic fulcrum, and it has the matter in the middle, and you have a board on either side, and say you put a 200-pound weight on one side. Basic psychology says I need 200 pounds of pressure on the other side to lift that 200 pounds. But what leverage is, it's scientific fact. You can put 25 pounds of pressure to lift 200 pounds. That's leverage. It means the pressure or the effort you put in gives you way significant results on the other side. And as an entrepreneur, you're always looking for leverage points. You're always looking for leverage points. Where are my levers? Examples of in regular life, examples of levers, pliers. Pliers is leverage. You just use your hand. You can bust open things with hundreds of pounds of pressure with a little plier. Or brakes on a bike. You just squeeze the brakes on and you can stop a motorcycle that's 200, 300, 400 pounds. You can stop it by pressing a little brake. That's leverage. So in marketing, in management, in leadership, in business, there's levers everywhere. So you gotta, as an entrepreneur, you gotta look for your levers. Where do I have leverage at? How can I use it? How can I build leverage? The more leverage you have, the more power you have. The more power you have, the easier it is for you to maneuver and move and grow and expand and make choices that affect large numbers of people and grow your business. You gotta look for your levers. If I work with NBA players and I help them build their brands, and if I'm working with an NBA player with 2 million followers and we build a brand together, he posted one time, boop, hey y'all, buy my shit, link in bio, make $20,000 in 45 minutes. It's leverage. Versus if I post on my page, I may make $1,000. I got 20,000 followers. I may make a G. That's leverage. Not all of us have that luxury of having 2 million followers, but I'm saying that's leverage. If you're constantly looking for ways, if you're constantly looking for levers, then you're gonna skip the line. You're gonna skip the line. Some people get stuck in this concept of fairness so hard that they may have velocity, but they're moving at 2 miles an hour. What leverage does is you hop on an airplane. Say it again.
Sorry, my brain always thinks in like visuals, because, anyways, but when you said that, it made me think about snail mail versus email, right? Like the old school, like walking to the post office, putting a letter in versus being able to instantly access, like, and get something from one point to the other. But that was the thing that popped in my brain that solidified that.
Yes. So here's something. It's a good example. So you take email blast, right? When I didn't have a lot of emails to send our email blasts out to, or to send our newsletters to, and I say I got 30 people in my email list to send newsletters to. That's all I could do. That's all I could do. But the moment I was able to negotiate value with a company that had 5,000 emails of my target market, it's leverage. All right, well, hold on. Don't give me no money. I don't want no money for what I'm about to do for you. Give me your email list. Because I know I've already calculated the numbers in my head and the conversion rates in my head of how much money I could make. So even if 3 to 5% of the emails go to my site and buy something, I make more money than what he would have paid me anyway. But now I have leverage because guess what? That money spends once. I can send to that email list every month, every month, every month. Leverage. So I'm going to tell you, one of the best forms of leverage is your relationships. I'm going to give you the one biggest one, your relationships. So relationships are the most important lever you can have. If it's a problem, if it's funk, or if it's up, or if it's something popping is there a phone call that you can make that you can call somebody, a cousin, a big homie, somebody where they're like, hey, I need you, and they on their way? That's leverage. What's the leverage? Maybe the leverage is just you related to them. Maybe the leverage is just you related to them. Maybe they have a strong connection with you. Maybe y'all grew up together. Maybe whatever. Doesn't matter, you got the leverage, right? So if I know people who built companies off of their friends who work in the field that they're in. So they built their company because their homie, the one that approves all the contracts, the incoming contracts. That's called leverage. Your relationships are everything. Now, that doesn't mean you become a transactional human, that everybody you interact with, you trying to create leverage to get something. No. I'm saying in business, everyone's using their levers. Everyone's using their relationships. So you got to use yours. And it's not who you know. And it's not even who's in your phone. It's who you know, who's in your phone, who you can call, and who picks up when you call. When they pick up, you ask them for something, and they say yes. So there's a whole bunch of steps there. So a lot of times, it also boils down to you. How solid are you? What's your integrity game look like? Are you a human of integrity? Do you add value? Are you an advancing human? Do you treat people good? Are you nice to everyone? Do you treat the janitor the same way you treat the CEO? Are you a giver? Are you a good human? Do you give for no reason? Do you set people up for no reason? Do you put people together for no reason? Just 'cause. You accumulate, if you live with that rhythm, you'll have so much leverage you can't even believe it. If you're always positively affecting people's life in a good way and you ain't no scumbag, then you'll be surprised how much leverage you got. Also, there's some people who got tons of leverage, but they're too egoic to use it. I don't ask nobody for nothing. That's not how white people work. Like, exchanging leverage is good. That's healthy. Let's not demonize that. Exchanging leverage is healthy because the law of reciprocation states, I want to give back to you. You gave to me. I want to give back to you. That's the law of reciprocation. I need to give back to you. So then we're in a constant flow of giving to each other. Constant flow. And that's how the world works on a level above just regular A plus B equals C. That's how the world moves. Do you understand why certain jobs never come available? There's certain jobs on the market you'll never see on Indeed or fucking Craigslist or whatever, because they don't make it. Have you ever been to certain neighborhoods in Oakland because your map tells you to go there and you hook this right, and this is little. I've been in Oakland my whole life and I've never seen this neighborhood. This is like fucking Alice in Wonderland, all these houses. And how come I've never seen these houses for rent or for sale or anything? It's relationships. It's leverage. So you use it. That's why we're here. A lot of us in here use each other for business. A lot. We use each other's products and services a lot because there's some amazing, creative, brilliant-minded folks in our Hope community. Why the fuck do I need to go outside of Hope to look for X, Y, and Z if it's in here? Man, Court, how come I can't get... I see you got all these photos. How come you don't hire me? Man, I can't make it to you. My network is too strong when it comes to that to even get to you. Sorry, bro. Like, that's real. Relationships are everything. That's your biggest lever. It's your biggest lever. If you always stuck and you don't got nobody to help you, or you like, man, I ain't got nobody, I'm lonely. Start building your relationship. Start creating leverage for yourself. You got to be more of a giver then. All right. Uh-huh.
So the question is, can you talk about building leverage if you don't have it in your network? I think the better way to ask it is, like, where haven't we thought about, or where haven't we considered leverage that's actually like right here, like low-hanging fruit that we could be tapping into?
Okay, so aside from relationship leverage, in money, relationships, marketing, leadership, there's so many levers. So many levers. Guess what? If you want to buy a certain asset. Say you want to buy an asset. Banks looks at your credit, and then what else? What does the bank do next? They want to leverage the loan that you want against something. That's what they're doing. They're saying, what assets do you own that if I loaned you this money, I feel comfortable? It's leverage. Like now you can see the world differently. You look at the world now and it's different. It's all based on, everything's leaning on each other. And the hard workers, they stuck with the belief that if this is 200 pounds, I got to be able to lift 200 pounds. Go ahead, blood. Have at it. While thinkers on another level of consciousness are like, no, where's the levers? How can I leverage this? 200 pounds? What's the best way to get this done?
The microphone's on, you can hear me?
Yep.
I was just thinking as you were talking, Court, that has been the biggest difference between corporate life and entrepreneurship life, is that in corporate, leverage can lead to imposter syndrome because you want to earn the certifications, you want to do the things, you want to work hard because that's what they teach you there. And then when you get something that feels like an unfair advantage, you worry about losing your spot, being fired, whatever the case may be. But then you jump into entrepreneurship and you don't give a fuck because you want that money, right? And so you're willing to jump into whatever leverage you can have and willing to bet that you'll gain valuable experience and you'll learn and you'll grow and you'll gain velocity basically. But just for folks who might not understand where they fall. My personal experience has been the corporate life versus the entrepreneurship life, and how you use, if at all, leverage to your advantage.
I love it. I love it. So check this out. She brings up another point on top of that, and I'm going to answer both of them. But that's also one of the biggest misconceptions from entrepreneurship life from corporate life to entrepreneurship. Say you've been working a company 10, 15 years. You worked your way up from being whatever to now you're in an executive position. When you walk around the streets or you have conversations with people, I used to do it too. I worked at Intel Corporation. So lunchtime, everybody in Silicon Valley goes to whatever restaurants. You walk in there with your Intel badge, because at the time they was the shit. They was the big dogs. Everybody's like, oh, shit. Oh, he works at Intel. Oh, man. Oh, leverage. Leverage. Hey, another form of leverage is that you get to throw around the weight of the leverage that your company built for you, and you get used to it so much that you think that it's part of you. And you think that when I quit, I'm gonna be able to throw around this same kind of leverage, and you put that badge down, and you just the human that you are, and you ain't built no relationships nowhere else, and you feel like you on a stranded ass island at 7:00 p.m. standard time in the middle of a fucking desert. And you don't know why. That's the big thing. You don't know why. Because you're like, well, I'm kind of doing the same shit I was doing at my corporate job here, and why do I feel so empty inside? You got no leverage. Like you have to realize when you start over, you start over with leverage too. What relationships do I have? How strong are these relationships? Where are my levers? Before I quit this job, where are my levers? And how solid are they? Let me start playing with them now. Let me press these buttons now. Because you cannot get a false sense of leverage that you have, because you'll be fucked. Just know that. That's the emptiness. Your corporate, the company you worked for worked their ass off for years to build their own leverage. The more relationships you build, the more value you add to the market, the more leverage that you have to where you can become dangerous. When I worked at Intel, the CEO, the CEO got enough complaints from the employees because we were using Southwest to fly all around to do all of our shit. He got fed up with all the complaints that we had. He went to the CEO of Southwest and said, yo, you got to make these changes because, we spend a lot of money with you guys. Southwest was like, we ain't got to do shit. So the CEO of our company bought like 4 or 5 private jets and was like, fuck them. Y'all fly on our private jets back where you need to go. Now, it did get expensive, but in the meantime, they worked it out. So 4 or 5 months later, all right, y'all back on Southwest. That's leverage. So understand you gotta work your leverage points. And you gotta be constantly looking to strengthen your levers. They're all around you, everywhere. Here's some super simple ones. If you're a handsome guy, you got leverage. If you're a beautiful woman, or you just a woman, you got leverage. It's true. You got swag, you got leverage. If you got a mouthpiece, that's leverage. It's leverage all around you. You got to use it. If you stuck on that sense of fairness and 1 + 2 = 3 shit, you're gonna be fucked. Well, I don't want to dress nice because I just want somebody to love me for me. Well, then fuck it. Do what you do then. Use your leverage. Use the leverage that you have. All right.
Hey, somebody said real quick, this is a good one to kind of for you to expand on. Can you talk about building leverage if you don't have it yet in your network?
You got leverage everywhere. If you know another human, you have an opportunity to build leverage. If you know one other human, you have an opportunity to build leverage. True story. And you don't worry about building this big Rolodex full of leverage. Love on, take care of, add value to that one person in front of you. That's it. That's velocity. Sometimes you don't realize if you're adding value constantly, you don't realize how much leverage you have. It's real. I remember one time, no more hood examples after this, but no. This is like my club going days. I was still married at the time. So this is like 10 years ago. So it's my birthday, so I'm having the birthday at the club in downtown Oakland. At that club next to the Fox Theater, kind of on the corner. The Den next to the Fox Theater. So my birthday, all my family and friends came, my homies, whatever. And I don't know how he got up in our section, but just some random stranger showed up in the section just acting a fool. And so I turn over and he's screaming at my wife at the time, my ex-wife, screaming at her. And she's like, and he's over her screaming, and she's like, so I run over there, like, who is this? Because our whole section was just friends and family. Who is this dude? So I kind of go grab my wife, pick her up, walk over to the corner, set her down, and when I walk back over there, bruh had already took off his shirt off, and he was in a fighting stance, like, okay, let's get this going. I turned back, and the crowd was about to maul this dude. They weren't even going to let me get to him. Guns came out, everything, and I'm like, whoa, no, don't do that. And they're like, Court, no, we doing it for you. I'm like, no, don't do that. It's because when you don't realize how much you affect people in a positive way when you're moving in that space. And so I had security come get the dude for his safety. And they're like, nuh-uh, I can't believe you not letting me, because they're like, let me prove to you how down I am for you. And that's crazy. Like, the power of leverage for you means it's a reflection of the value that you add in other people. All right, we're moving on. So that's going to be touched on more deeper in detail in this mental model stuff and how it applies, but I want to I want to get it in your head. I want to get it in your head.
Someone said online, on Miro, actually, that dealing with companies that are trying to prove they are inclusive is leverage when you are a person of color.
Hell yeah, it's leverage. Hell yes, that's leverage. Now, is that something you lean on for the next 10 years? No. But it's leverage. Uh-oh. Oh, there it is. All right, next slide. This applies to business, but it applies personal too. Again, so promises. Another thing as entrepreneurs that a lot of us are afraid to do, and that's make a promise to our customers. Seth Godin talks about this. and it's game. And this game that I applied and this game that's helped me in my business is a lot of times we want to be so close to facts in our communication with our customers. We want to play this right and wrong game that we don't want to make promise to our customers, a promise to our industry. Great businesses and great entrepreneurs make promises and they keep them. Why the word promise? It's because of this. As a company, you're saying you're an expert. You're a trusted expert. You know what you're doing. Trust me with your money. Give me your money. And in exchange for your money, I'll give you more value than the money you gave me. It'll be worth it for you. Well, why should I believe you? Well, you just do. Customers want to feel like they can trust you. And you have to act in a manner that you're the trusted advisor. That means you're the authority figure. You're the authority figure. Similar to a parent is the authority figure to their child. There's some hairy situations in business because they're not always going to be smooth. There's going to be hairy situations in business where you're not going to know. Or you like, holy shit, are we going to make it? Or are we going to be able to deliver? Or, man, there's all these problems. I don't know what. That's not the customer's problem. That's yours. So if you're an authority figure and you're a parent and there's a noise at night, boom, 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 and you kind of sleep, and your 6-year-old son or daughter wakes up and like, I'm scared. What was that? I'm scared. Do you go in the room and be like, I'm scared too? No, regardless of what that noise is, because you ain't even figured out what that noise is yet. What do you tell that child? Everything is going to be okay. Don't worry. Everything's going to be okay. Don't worry about it. Just go to sleep. I'm here. Everything's going to be good. Now, as you leave and close the door, then you like, oh, shit, what the fuck is going to happen? You might be scared too, but you do not give that energy to your child, right? It's the same in business. A lot of people don't get customers because they're afraid to make them promises because just in case I can't keep it. No. Some of you can get over that hump when you change your messaging, how you communicate with your customers. There's certain situations in my business, I have to rely on the supply chain a lot. Every week, I got to rely on the supply chain to deliver to my customers. And during COVID, oh my God, the shit was horrible. Horrible. They just they didn't go to work. They all had COVID, so the motherfucking factory shut down, or DHL shut down, or what? It's something new every week. I got to give my customers dates, ballpark figures, ranges. It's going to happen. We're going to make it happen for you, period. And be willing to stand on that. And if it doesn't happen, be willing to fix it and still make the customer happy at the end of the day, period. Because guess what happens? When customers know that's how you get down, their shoulders go like this when they're around you. Oh, don't trip. They got me. I ain't never had no issues. And even when I did have issues, they fixed it. So I ain't got nothing to worry about. That's where you want your customers to be. Because if their shoulders is tense, when another person asks them about your business, then guess what they're going to say about you? That fear that they had, because the fear of the unknown is a motherfucker. So the fear of the unknown sometimes is worse than the actual occurrence. So that fear is going to do that. Project out, just like that. So you're in the promise business. All marketing is the promise business. Marketing is the promise business. And if you're not moving, well, when does it come? I don't know. Well, do you know? Do you know what? I don't know. Shit, I ain't got no control over that. That's the postal service. That's not me. China said that they ain't got no more of these, so we waiting just like you. Shit. All that energy does is make them go look for an authority figure that they can relax their shoulders with. I know they gonna take care of me. I'm willing to pay more. First thing when I met Nana, we went and talked business. What's the first thing you think he said? Raise your prices. I went to your website, you raise your prices, right? Guess what I did? I raised my motherfucking prices. Raised them. You want to raise? You want an instant raise? Raise your prices. Guess what, though? You have to match the value of the prices you raise with your new price. You have to match the value. So I raised my prices, but guess what? My goal was also to match the value. So then there's no like, well, why is this so much? Well, look, you get this more. So in the pandemic, during those times, or even pre-pandemic, you know what saved my ass? That I raised my prices. And I raised the service level with my prices. So I had customers say, man, it's people out there way cheaper than you, but I love your customer service and the way you take care of your employees, and I know y'all got me. Woo, shit. Thank you. Thank you for saying that, sir. You'd be surprised. So guess what the butterfly effect was on that velocity of doing that thing, doing that one thing. Guess what the butterfly effect was on that. So understand there's situations where the customer's product hasn't even left China yet, and it's been sitting in Hong Kong for 4 days, and it's Wednesday, and we told the customer that he have his product by Friday, and the customer has a major tournament going on where they need all those uniforms to play in on that weekend. My account manager used to be scared shitless and would not give them the promise. She wouldn't give them the promise because she didn't want to be wrong. And I say, promise them that we were going to take care. Promise them that we're going to figure it out for them. And they're going to be taken care of. And she just hated it at the beginning. Hey, coach, guess what? We're going to take care of you. We're going to figure it out. So we're gonna make sure that you're taken care of on this date. That's our promise. Click. Hey, I want you to call Hong Kong or whoever and tell them if they gotta swim this shit over. Swim it over because we promised our customer. 8 times out of 10, it worked out. The 2 times that it didn't, we had backups. Hey, coach, that supply chain is still so backed up. I know you got a tournament this weekend, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to overnight you some practice uniforms that you can wear so you guys can have something to play in, but you can keep those. So that's about like a $2,000-$3,000 value. You can have them, and then when your products come, you can keep those too. So A, their solution is fixed. B, they happier because they got extra uniforms for free, and C, they still got their stuff.
Am I the only one who feels this is going to sound really weird? Please don't take this the wrong way. That's sexy as hell to me. I'm serious. I have a thing about delivering shit to customers, and I was like, oh shit, that's what you do when you're supposed to do the right thing. I just get excited. Sorry.
No,
Great
that's
job.
Dope. Okay.
You also have You also have a question by Estelle is killing it. Estelle, I really appreciate your participation, and also Albert is Albert got your back. He's throwing assists for you.
Thank you.
But
My brother.
but the question is she says, what about the idea of under promising and over delivering? You apply this strategy, would it lead clients to the business making the big promises? If you apply this strategy, would it lead clients to the business making the big promises? I'm not sure that.
The people, most of the time, the people who underpromise don't get the job. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. The people, a lot of times, most of the times, the people who underpromise don't get the job in the first place. So, because if you're entering into a space of business where you're saying, I need to be here, and you need to choose me over these other companies, what's your value then if you underpromising everybody around you? You promise, and even sometimes overpromise, and you deliver that shit. There's some things that people like, hey, can you do this? Can you guys do this? And in my brain, I do a quick math equation in my head. I've never done it before. I just did a thought experiment in my head, and I ran through the thought experiment, and the answer came out to be, yes, I could do it. Cool. I'll get right to it and hang up the phone and be like, hey, y'all, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're doing this. And they're like, what the fuck? Okay. And not only are we going to do it, we're going to deliver. That's the business you in. We're in a wild, y'all. This is the wild. This is not corporate world where you feel stressed and you can go to HR and be like, they're overworking me and they're giving me too much work and that I'm having to stay over and it's affecting my work-life balance. This ain't the corporate world. This is entrepreneurship. You grow, you win, you flourish, or you fucking die. It's the real.
Ooh.
So I've never played in that game of under promising. Sometimes we overestimate what we can do. Entrepreneurs are wrong a lot. I know I am. Shit. So a lot of times, some of that is we overestimate what we can do. But that's not the customer's problem. So that's yours. So if that means that's a learning curve for you or a learning experiment for you, or damn, I got to cut into my profit to make this happen because I promised this person, or I make no profit at all because I fucked up in my analysis and my estimation, or I got to pay for this because I really fucked up then that's what you got to do. And then you just don't do it again. Or you learn from it and improve and mutate from it to where now you have a workable version of what you did. Again, that's way better than running on a treadmill. Some of the people running on a treadmill will laugh at you for failing while they running on the treadmill. See, look, they scrolling on the Instagram laughing at your failure while they running on the Instagram because their busyness tells them that they did a whole bunch of shit. Ties back to it. All right.
One more question, Court. I can't quite see it. It's saying some business growth opportunities may require you to do things that you aren't yet comfortable with. And although I know we're avoiding comfort, as the person who has to do the actual thing, isn't there a certain level of comfortability necessary in order to show up authentically and produce effectively? When you are your brand versus a service or widget, is making sure you're comfortable enough to carry out the task at hand, at least initially, detrimental?
I would replace the word comfortable comfortably with confident. So you're out of your comfort zone as an entrepreneur a lot anyway. You're out of your comfort zone. You're moving from a place of confidence that you can get it done. You're not going to have all the answers every day. You're not. And if you're growing in your business, you're never the same. So your products and or services that you're offering, even if you have a chocolate chip cookie company and you have the grandma's recipe as a chocolate chip cookie company, and it's the same recipe for 100 years, you're always constantly changing something. Your branding, where you're selling it, your brick and mortar spaces, the packaging, your website, you're always changing. You get comfortable on Facebook, putting Facebook ads up and running Facebook ads. You got it. You accrued some followers, and now ain't nobody on Facebook no more. They're on Instagram. You're like, fuck. Then you learn Instagram, and you finally pick it up, and you take some classes, and you building your following base on Instagram. Oh, they're on TikTok now. So you're never comfortable. But are you confident? Yes, that comes from your integrity. It comes from your own personal values. And it comes from your confidence and your experience in what you've done, what you're capable of doing. And if it's in your wheelhouse, then you can knock it down. I may not necessarily, like, I'm in a clothing game. So if somebody asks me to build a spaceship, that's not my shit. So if it's anywhere in the realm of clothing, and it relates to it's on my path, then I'm gonna consider it. Why? Because a lot of times people get so stuck on what they went into the business for that they'll die on just that. This is my business. This is what I'm selling. Not realizing that a lot of your favorite companies started out as something completely different. If you are got any sort of swag about you, you got an iPhone. Here we go. He about to start.
Test 1 2 3. I think messed around, said the wrong shit. Anyway, with y'all weak ass. Okay, anyway, go ahead, but I don't want to disturb you. Go ahead.
No, what I was I did. I had to throw that one out there. But guess what? They started off making computers. They were a computer company. They're a computer company. Now they make most of their money selling phones. A lot of the products that you have, the company started off as something completely different. So you have to be in a space where you're not comfortable. You're not comfortable. But you're confident that you can deliver whatever it is. And that also is a tribute to your values, your personal integrity, who you are as a person. You know how Puffy used to say, Will Smith used to say, if we're on a treadmill, either I'm a win or I'm a die. That's his personal value. That's his value. That's part of his value system. So there has to be certain values in you that says, man, I'm not going to allow any customer to walk out of here where I didn't add value to them. I'm just not. You got to walk away better than when you came. Sometimes you don't even see it. Sometimes you ain't happy. But we know it. I could calculate the value. And then if you get out your feelings over time, you'll realize, damn. Or when you run off to the other company that you thought was better, doper, cheaper, then you'll realize, damn, I got spoiled over there. So I will replace the word comfort with confident. I don't know. I'm not the smartest fucking wheel in the wheelhouse. It's just I have a certain confidence in me that it doesn't matter how much I don't know. If I commit to something, I'm going to do it all the way and get better at it every time. Period. So that's really the move. All right. Code of Extraordinary Mind. So, if you've read this book can summarize itself in a few nuggets, right? And we extract the nuggets and we go. You extract the nuggets and you move. So, big nuggets from the Code of Extraordinary Mind: self-love, self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, forgiveness of others. Those are important keys, big nuggets in your own growth and in your own success moving forward. Challenging, questioning your culturescape and being willing to look at it and divorce things that don't work for you. That's powerful. That's powerful. Meditation. That's another one. Creating a vision for your future. Not being 100% tied to it, but creating a vision where you want to go and being pulled to it, attacking it, finding your purpose. And the big one is being happy in the now. Don't wait to be happy when you get some shit, or when you get material things, or when you get your business, or when you hit 1 million, 10 million, 100 million. Be happy in the moment. And being happy in the moment is what creates the acceleration and the velocity to get where you want to go. And then the last piece, wrapping up this book, we're going to wrap it up today. And really, we want you to extract the nuggets in this. Because without a lot of those things, it's hard for you to move as an entrepreneur if you don't build that foundation first, enough of that foundation. You ready to read? Let's go.
Bend reality. If you can choose any model of reality you want and accept it as true, why not choose a model that suggests that you can literally bend reality to your wishes?
Now, this means that wherever you come from, wherever you grew up, whatever experiences you had as a child, whatever trauma you've experienced as a child, none of that shit defines you. And it does not affect how you want to move forward and live in the future. You can create a reality for you that's in alignment with what you vision. Whatever you've experienced in the past, you can shape it, you can bend it, you can change it. Where you're like, fuck, I've had an amazing life. You can move like that. Now, it's not like you can sit and close your eyes and just by it with doing no work and achieve it. It's not like you can be positive and be like, oh, life is good, life is good, life is good. No, none of that shit works. You can change your reality by doing the work. By doing the work and making the necessary sacrifices. Next slide.
Manage the gap between where you are and where you want to be by using the past. See how far you have come.
Yes. So the thing is, we're in an information overload, as y'all know. We're in information overload. 20 years ago, we were in information overload. Now it's crazy. Because not only are we in information overload of the amount of information, the speed at which the information travels now is crazy. You can be bombarded with tons of shit. Have you ever heard something and you felt a little feeling and you're like, shit, let me do some research on the internet about it. And now it's telling you you're about to die? Because there's conflicting information on every side. There's a dead philosopher who tells you X, and there's another dead philosopher that tells you the exact opposite on the same subject that everybody believes in. Who's right? So at the end of the day, you are always looking for what's working. That's it. You're looking for what works for you. Not what's popular, not what somebody you respect said, not what's on the bestsellers list, not what's on TV. It's what works for you. And what works for you could be slightly different than what works for you. And slightly different than what works for you. So, so the goal is you're always managing the gap between where you are and where you want to be. So if you're getting caught up on Instagram and you're looking at everybody's balling ass life, and you're like, fuck, I want to go to Tulum. I want to go to, I want to pop bottle. I want to have a fucking money phone. Or spread it out, or just be sitting in the living room with $100 bills everywhere. How come my life ain't like that? You're getting caught up in comparisons to what other people have. You may not even like that shit. But you'll get so caught up in the desire and comparison and competing with other people that you think you like it. And then you'll change courses to pursue it. And then you get it and realize after about a week and a half, this ain't what I want. So your job is really, how do I manage the gap between where I am and where I want to be? And there's certain times where you get down, you get, fuck, man, I'm not there yet. I'm 35, I'm 45, I'm 55. I should be here. I said I was going to be a millionaire by now. I said my business was going to be X by now. All that does is lowers you. It lowers your emotions down closer to depression. So one way to help you improve that is sometimes don't look to the future, stop. Look at how far you came. How far did you come? Where you from? Where you from? Where'd you grow up? If your skin color has a little melanin in it, which most of us do, you're black or brown or there's other things you've had to overcome just to get here. There's a lot of things you've had to overcome just to get here. Most of us, because there's no absolutes, I'm just going to say most of us are pretty fucking incredible humans. And if you're taking this class, you're playing the game at a high level already. You're playing the game at a high level. If you're a black women are gods to me. Why? Because they were the lowest of society. And they whooping ass right now. Stop me when I'm lying. They whooping ass right now. If you're a black man and you've built something and you're moving and you're progressing in society and you have more than $7 in your bank account, because that's the average. The adversities that you had to come through, shit. So look behind you too. Doesn't mean you live in the past, because then now you're stuck. Oh shit. You're stuck in the past. Don't. But use that as a point of reference sometimes when you can get confused about who the fuck you are. Oh man, look, I learned this early when I started going to therapy, because I was working on myself, trying to get better. And when I started going to I stopped going to group therapy when everybody was having these sharing circles, and I share a story, a traumatic story, and motherfuckers start crying. And the therapist, her eyes is like. So then I realized we ain't built the same. And we just go. We go after it. We grinding with no excuses. We wolves. We radical responsibility. We making a way because our purpose is strong or whatever reason we had to get where we wanted to go. That's powerful. Because the capacity, you may not be where you want to be. Say you make $100K a year. Say you make 50. Say you make 250. Whatever the amount is. The capacity, though, meaning you may have started the line. Say a race, and you got all these people at a race, right? Gun goes off, boom, and everyone starts running. But you started way back here. And then you end the race in 4th place. And you hella down on yourself. But you have to look back and say, I got to get better because I want to win. But damn, I'm raw. That's all that is. And that's just to keep you in a space where tomorrow morning you keep working. Next slide.
Forgiveness is gangster. 1, forgiveness is your liberation. 2, what can I learn from this? And 3, how did the situation make me better?
I say have forgiveness because somebody told me a long time ago, they were saying, Court, man, forgiveness is gangster. I'm like, why is forgiveness gangster? He said, because it's so hard. I was like, yeah, I guess so, huh? Forgiveness is gangster. But the beauty of it is the word liberation. Liberation means the most of the benefit comes in forgiveness is on you. Meaning, we talked that capacity, this last slide. The more you forgive, it's literally like releasing weights off of you. So now, just from forgiveness alone, you went from 4th place to 3rd place. 3rd place to 2nd place. Just from the act of forgiveness. When I learned that, I'll start forgiving everybody. The grimiest motherfuckers who did me the dirtiest, I worked on forgiving them. You're forgiven. It's good. Don't worry about it. Because the benefit comes here. It comes from you. It literally affects your business. It literally affects your velocity and your speed. So if there's not things in this book that you agree or disagree with, we have to align on this one. The more you're able to forgive, and there's, with no exception, I know there's some horrific things that happens in this world from people that you trust or didn't trust or whatever. But I guarantee you, if you want to elevate and move to the next level in your life, in business, or expand to the next level, forgive them. And or take steps towards forgiving them. Don't run on a treadmill with forgiving them. Take steps every day to forgiving them. Doesn't mean you forget. It also doesn't mean that you go back and start kicking it with them and be friends with them or whatever again. It just means you let it go and you wish them well.
So Meryl's got a lot of activity on this one. So the first one is in that kind of like, I'm not so sure about this. And it's forgiveness is not an absolution for accountability. So we can forgive, but we don't have to forget the lack of accountability that has been displayed.
Of course not. Of course not. Forgiveness is not an end-all solution to where they can press the start button and start all over with you again. It means accountability is still a thing. Am I confusing the question?
No.
Okay.
It's that question is bringing up a question for me.
Oh, got you. Yeah. So again, it doesn't mean you don't move and act accordingly. It means that energy is like a hot potato stuck inside you. Remember this. So if there's someone that did you wrong, and every time their name gets called or you hear their name, you feel it somewhere in your body, and it's just this nasty energy that's inside you, that's hurting you. They could be living their life, move on, happy, doing their shit, and every time their name gets mentioned, it fucks you up. Now you just lost productivity. Now you're thinking about it. Now you're dreaming about it. You're angry. All that energy affects your livelihood. It affects even how long you live. Diseases, cancers. A lot of that is attributed to stuck energy. So the forgiveness piece is you. It's you liberating yourself. It's lightening your own load so that you can move more freely. And sometimes it takes years. It's people that I've had to do this exercise with, and it only takes off 1%. And it's been a year, and I'm working through it. Okay, we're at 5% away. Fuck. Because internally, I want to fucking do some shit to this person, right? So you have to go from, I want to do some shit to this person, all the way down to, I wish this person well. I forgive you and I wish you well. Now, that's the gap. But once you do that, it's so freeing.
Is just moving forward with folks in cordiality as effective as actual forgiving?
No. No. Go ahead on the second part, though.
In both cases, aren't we moving forward? Aren't we moving forward just the same?
If you are cordial with the person before without forgiving them, then that builds up more resentment. Because if you haven't worked through it, then being around a person that you haven't worked through to a place of forgiveness, all you're doing is building up more resentment with that person. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Because that's called toxic behavior, that's toxic relationship. Because now you're concealing your pain, your hurt, your resentment in a space of just being cool with that person. Work through it. Get to a space of forgiveness. What's being around that person going to do if you haven't worked through to forgiveness? It's only going to create more resentment and make it harder for you to forgive down the road. Have you ever been in a relationship? I know I have. I ain't been the best partner or mate. So I've easily admit some of the shit I've done where I done fucked up in a relationship, but stayed with the person, but they haven't forgiven me. So you waking up every day like, shit, you gonna keep talking about it or you gonna forgive me? For whatever reason, they want to stay with you, but they ain't forgot and they ain't forgiven you. So you may just be sitting up at dinner talking about shit, and then she start crying. What happened? The waiter walked by and he was wearing the same thing you was wearing when you fucked up. Shit. We got to work through this. You got to get to a space where you can forgive, or you're not doing either one of you guys any service.
The question I have is around you forgive, but you don't forget. And I'm asking it because I'm asking myself the question of like, what's the energy that I'm holding on to or not letting move if I'm keeping that in my memory? Like I'm not going to forget it, right? So it just feels like it's just like I'm not as stuck as I was before, but I'm still a little bit stuck.
I love those questions. Here's the deal. It's what questions are you asking yourself during the forgiveness process? Here's 2 questions. 1, these are powerful. Write them down, please, because this can help you. First question is, what did I learn from this situation? What did I learn? When you are able to learn from a situation or someone that hurts you, when you're able to learn, that is in such an added value to you. You just gained a superpower because you learned. The second question is, how did this make me better? Now, if you can answer those two questions, then that person immediately stops being your enemy and becomes your ally. So if you drill that in hard enough to yourself, then soon the evil nature of that person starts to wear off a little bit. I'm sorry, there's a third. When you're able to have compassion for that person, meaning, what did they go through in life? What did they go through? How did they grow up? Who taught them that? And when you're able to have compassion for that person with those three questions, then slowly the fire in you or around that person eases up. And mind you, man, it works. It works. At least I've tried it. I've used it. So, because guess what? Because subconsciously and consciously, when you answer the question, how has this made me better? Now, that situation was part of your growth. It was part of it made you who you are now, and you're dope. So if that would have never happened, then I wouldn't be the dope person that I am now. Thank you. Or at least I wouldn't be fully aware and cognitively aware of how to handle situations like this in the future. There's situations in my life where it crushed me, crippled me, completely crippled me. Suicide. I wanted to commit suicide. Put gun to the head, suicide. And guess what? I'm super grateful it all happened because it made me better. So when I look at that person, I'm glad it happened. Thank you. Took me a fucking while to get there, but now, thank you. I'm glad it happened. I appreciate it. Thank you. So the resentment oozes away because now you look at that person as a teacher. You look at that person as someone who was a part of your journey. The same way Anana is to me, that person is to me too. Now, of course, I don't love that person like I love this brother, but still, I forgive that person. I wish them well. Me and my first wife, we ran each other fucking ragged. Wild. Fucked each other up. I think she used to have my name tattooed on her back. She got a whole bunch of books covered over. She covered over my tattoo and my name with books. That's growth. That's lessons for her, right?
What are your thoughts on forgiving someone who is an active enemy? Their unforgiveness keeps you in their crosshairs.
Their unforgiveness is not under your control. You can't control that. And guess what? When you can forgive them, you can think from a clearer space. Anytime someone is emotional about you, they're on low ground, as the Art of War talks about. They're on low ground because they're blinded by their emotions. Whenever you are in a clear space, you can see the land. You can see the landscape more clear. You can make better decisions. Your bandwidth isn't taxed by your anger and emotions. Theirs is. You can, like, if you're at war, you can lead them down a rabbit hole that you're fucked if you're at war with them. So the best place to be is in a clear head, place of forgiveness, non-attached emotionally to them. You good. It's just war at this point. It's strategy at this point. I didn't got my ass kicked so many times in that exact situation, in business, physical, any because I'm an emotional, I will use my emotions to help fuel, my anger to help fuel. And that worked a lot. But the times it didn't work is when the person was calm and was like, Court, I'm not mad. I actually like you. But I'm going to kill you. Right? And you're like, well, I'm just going to get madder because that's going to help me defeat you. I have no strategy. Where they can look at, where is he strong? Where is he weak? Where is he this? Where is he power? Where do I need to avoid? Where do I need to go? What allies do I need? How can I? There's so much strategy that can happen. So as entrepreneurs, the worst thing you can be as an entrepreneur is vengeful, resentful, angry at people. It's the worst thing you can be. Because God forbid you get some money. God forbid you get some power. Now it's really a problem. Because a vengeful, resentful, angry person who can't forgive with millions of dollars, that's lightweight why you ain't got it now. All right. Next slide, if it let me go to the next slide. Oh, there we go. All right. What is this? Not now. Enter the password. Oh, there we go. All right. So we'll talk meditation really quick. So there's so many ideas, practices when it comes to meditation. I'm not going to get into all of them. What I will say is do it. Do it. Whatever that means to you in the moment, get on the journey of what starts working for you. Some people's meditation is they go in the mountains and they be one with nature and they're able to be acutely aware of everything around them and get focused and clear and refresh and rejuvenate. Some people can get on a treadmill or ride a bike or get locked in and zone out and do something that zones them out. Some people do the traditional forms of meditation. Some people do yoga. Some people do just mindfulness exercises, breathing, whatever journey you're on with meditation, just get on it and do it. Try it. Try all of them. One day try this one, next day to try, but do it. It is imperative because in entrepreneurship, you're bombarded with thoughts all the time, ideas, problems, thoughts, ideas, personal life. This your own self-love and care. It's imperative. So I started meditating 15 years ago when the shit was demonic. It was the devil. There was no science that backed it up. It was none of that shit. And if you told a Christian that you meditated, you was demonic, straight up. But you know why I kept going? Because it worked. I felt the difference. The human that I became when I was meditating versus the human that I was when I wasn't. And it became addicting to me. This is like, I'm a better version of myself. And in 15, 16 years, I've mutated all kind of different forms of meditation, tried different ways of meditating. But end of the day, I have something that works for me every morning. And I give myself an hour. I meditate for an hour. Start off 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but I meditate for an hour sometimes. Sometimes it's 30 minutes. Sometimes it's 20 minutes. It depends on how much clutter is in my space. but I give myself that space. I don't move without meditating because it's like the Snicker commercial. You'll know the difference in me if I didn't. Because as we talked about earlier, yes, you can change. You can change. You can become a completely different person than you were before. But guess what? The minute you stop doing the things that executed the change, that old version of you is still kicking it back there. Yeah, well, I'm here for you. Whenever you're ready, we can smoke a blunt. We can go do whatever. We get fucked up. All the crazy shit we used to do. Remember that? We had hella fun. We didn't die. I'm here for you. So with me, if a month without meditating, you wouldn't recognize me. Because the pool of that is still constantly there. So I get business ideas constantly when I meditate. I solve problems constantly during meditation because you're intensely focused. Now, for some, it's just breathing exercises. That's a simple form of meditation, breathing. Closing your eyes, find somewhere comfortable to sit, and breathe in and out and listen to your breath. A lot of times people say, I hate meditating because it says you're not supposed to think or you're supposed to quiet your mind. You don't got to do that. Actually, meditation is becoming more aware, not less. There's no way you can quiet your mind. No way. It's impossible to quiet your mind. So it's not about quieting your mind, it's about focusing your mind. Because it's all about perspective. The more you focus on something, the quieter things appear. It's a perception game. You're not actually quieting your mind. It's when you focus on something in your meditation, it becomes louder and everything else becomes quieter. So when you just listen to your breath, that's it. But you'll realize over time, you keep practicing that your breath gets louder inside because now the noise, you're practicing intensifying the listening of one thing. That's called focus. There's one thing I wanted to say about this. One more thing I wanted to say. Have you ever, I don't know if when you were a kid, and if you were fortunate enough to have that kind of doctor, where you had to get a shot, and the doctor did something to distract you. Hey, look at this boy over here, over there, and you're like, okay, what the fuck? Stop! I'm trying to get ready for that shot, and they say, I already gave it to you. How did that work? It's a needle sticking in your arm. How did that work? That is meditation in an example. If you shift your focus strong enough, you can get stuck in the arm and not notice it. So imagine all the other times you're getting stuck, punched, hit, because your focus is so scattered. If you were focusing on that arm the whole time, that shot would have hurt 10 times more. Because that's all you put all your energy on it. So that thing that I'm talking about, that puts your energy on your arm, put your energy on toward the guy that had the bear or whatever it is, that is your focus. That's the presence. That's the muscle you're building in meditation. Now, once you open your eyes, every day you're able to focus better on your task, on your vision, on your goals for the day, on what you're doing. That's it. Ain't no fucking woo-woo, like you ain't gotta wear no robe, you ain't gotta burn nothing.
I have to have an iPhone.
Here we go, I knew it. He gotta come back, I know it. I mean, you ain't gotta burn no sage. I like sage, but that's it. It's just breathing. So let's move on. I was waiting for that. It says, be an advancing human, be a giver. So, again, I like playing around with the universal law and the universe and God and all those things. As a human being, if you want more, give more. If you want more in life, give more in life. You're letting the universe know, you're letting God know, or whoever you believe in, you're letting them know, give me more responsibility. When you're an advancing human, that means everywhere you go, you leave it better than when you came. Period. Once I learned this, that became my motto. Every relationship, even if we break up and we don't fuck with each other no more, I want you to be better than what you were before we met. Every friendship relationship, every job, every place that I've rented. When you move with that kind of energy to where like, nah, I'm gonna get my deposit back. Matter of fact, if I leave this spot, not only do I get my deposit back, you can be like, damn, like I don't gotta pay you for this, do I? Nah, it's cool. Cause that's how you move, that's your energy. That tells the universe, give him more. He can handle it. He got it. Be a giver. Plus, it sends the same signal to your own subconscious mind that says, I have more than enough. And it don't just gotta be money. You can give her your time, it can give her your energy, give game. That's why I'm here. Give all the free game I got. Tell you all the fucked up stories about me, the shit that is embarrassing because I want it to work for somebody. That's period. I want it to work. I want to help somebody get better, change, grow, expand, make money, become a millionaire, whatever. Be a giver. I don't care if you're gonna go smoke crack with the $5 I give you, man, smoke it. It's about my energy of giving. Every time that same crackhead sees me, even between me giving them money, they God bless you. I God bless you, brother. Period. Move now. So you move with that energy. Now, when shit gets tough, or when things ain't easy, or when money's on the line, or when reputational damage is on the line, you're already in practice of being advancing. Be an advancing human.
Real quick before we go into the next slide, when you say this is also an answer to Autumn's question about how do you improve your network, is by being a giver, you attract a higher quality of people, especially if you're giving within your circle of genius.
Man, you wanna build your relationships, you wanna build a big network, be a giver. Most of the world is selfish as fuck. Their agenda is only about them. And it's obvious, like it's slapped on the front of their head. I'm only in it for myself. And you see it, you read it. Hey, I want from you. They calling you, venting to you all the time just to throw their mess on you. Like some people are just, it's in them to always take. The world is full of takers. So the givers illuminate, they're bright because they're scattered amongst the crowd. Some question might be, well, what if I give and that person doesn't give to me back? Stop worrying about the equalization of things in people. You're playing a game, you're playing a universal game. You're not playing a me and you game. You're playing a big picture game. So if you're an advancing human, then you're playing the role of the sun. The sun doesn't not shine on the killers or the assholes or the this or that. It shines on everybody. An advancing person is a light like the sun. Period. Now you can get burnt, but you're the light, and you don't dim yourself, you don't hide yourself, you don't not shine. And then once you become reliable like the sun, you'll realize that the ecosystem has formed around you. Look at this class. It started with one brother who decided he wanted to make a difference in his community. Didn't necessarily have a complete strategy, didn't know exactly what he was doing. He just started doing it. Didn't have all the necessary data, books, tools, and we still don't. We still learning. We still chopping shit up. But the reason why a lot of people are here is because this man is a light. He's an advancing human. He's a sun. So whenever there's a sun that can be relied on, the ecosystem gets built around. And that's when the universe kicks in and be like, oh, no, you got to stay around because you're good for this world. Give him more. Give him more responsibility. Give him more money. Give him more this. Give him more that. Plus, I see how you move. I see how you handle it. If the move was just, hey, every time, just trying to take advantage of, I'm trying to build something so I can take advantage, so I can take from you, or I can see an angle where I can get something from you, then that shit spreads fast and it dies quick. So be a giver. Be a giver. Next slide.
Man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money, then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. And then he is so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present. The result being that he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he is never going to die, and then dies having never really lived.
Oh, shit. I don't even need to say nothing. I don't really need to say nothing. You guys get this, right? A lot. I've been in this space. Hustle, 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 hustle. Been a hustler. Hustler my whole life. Hustler, and that was a badge of honor. That shit is so bullshit. Hustle works to a certain level. And if you don't switch over from a hustler to an entrepreneur in time, then you're gonna run yourself into the ground and die never really living. It's so counterintuitive what we do. Louis C.K. is a comedian. I watched. White guy, hella funny. White dude, he got canceled though, so I don't know if you can find some shit on him. But white guy, he was making jokes about loving being white and like enjoying his white privilege. He's like, the only thing that he's scared of is when he dies and goes to heaven, God is gonna like look at what the white man did to the world and be like, what the fuck did you do? And he's like, but I had to go to work. He's like, for what? He's like, so we can get food. He's like, food? I put food everywhere. He's like, yeah, but I had to go fast to get to work. And he's like, and I needed bacon. Like, I wanted bacon. So he's like, but you fucked the world up. He's like, I know, but I need a place to live. And the way he was going back and forth with God was so funny. But it's this exact same thing, is that we want this thing, and we're so consumed by it that we cannibalize ourselves in pursuit of it. Stop. Be happy now. And look around. Be happy now. What are you grateful for? Man, I got some amazing people in my life. I got a roof over my head. I sleep good at night. I got transportation. I have people around me that love me. I got children around me that love. Like, what am I grateful for? Be happy with who you are in pursuit of your goals. You don't have to not have goals or visions of where you want to go, but be happy in the present moment. That's also what meditation helps you with, being present. There's a space between stimulus and response. You might have heard this before. There's a space between stimulus and response. So meditation helps you widen that gap which gives you time to make different choices, think different thoughts, and take different actions. But enjoy the now. Be happy now. What you grateful for now. And you'll realize that a lot of the amazing things that get you almost choked up because it's so amazing in your life, it ain't monetary. It has nothing to do with money. My daughter, my 5-year-old daughter, could break me the fuck down. She could say something to me and break me down. I got to turn away and be like, yeah, hold on, I got to go to the bathroom. Where you been, Daddy, all day? I missed you. I missed you in my life. She don't have all her words, but she be like, I missed you my whole life. And I'm like, okay, hold on, Daddy got to go to the bathroom. Breaks me down. $0. There's so much of that going on, operating in your life right now, and we so busy in the pursuit of the bag or trying to look like somebody on Instagram that ain't happy either, that we lose out on all that shit. My first entrepreneurial venture, that was all me. And I got to the bag. I hit my first $1 million in a short amount of time. But I was so toxic in my thinking that I didn't enjoy none of it. I don't even remember. I don't remember the days. Few things I remember. I didn't enjoy any of the shit. Next slide.
Be unfuckwittable. Extraordinary minds do not need to seek validation from outside opinion or through the attainment of goals. Instead, they are truly at peace with themselves and the world around them. They live fearlessly, immune to criticism or praise, and fueled by their own inner happiness and self-love.
I do like this shit with Vision. Be unfuckwittable. That's the translation. You do not seek validation from outside opinion or through attainment of goals. You're in your own bubble. You don't think there's a Buddhist saying I'm unfazed by the good and bad opinions of others. The good and bad opinions of others. Oh, you hella dope. You amazing. Thank you. Unfazed. You a piece of shit. Thank you. Unfazed. That's what being unfuckwittable is. That keeps you at your best space at all times. It keeps you at your peak point because the clarity that you have when you're unfuckwittable, it's compoundable, which means it adds up. If I said you're ugly and your self-value is low and my opinion means a lot to you, that shit will rot inside you for so long. You'll be thinking about it. You can't dream. Why did he say that? Oh my God, it's so he's toxic masculinity. Like you'll go on and on.
Social justice.
Social justice. It'll eat you up. It'll eat you up. Now, guess what? Say you're an entrepreneur. What percentage did you go down in terms of your bandwidth? Just from that one statement. Even if it's 3-4%, you slower than I am now. You just slowed down because of something I said. Now, your velocity is slower, which means the time it takes you to get to your goal has just extended. Because you can't shake that. Because the good or bad and opinions of others affect you. Now, that is a journey to get to. But it's possible for you. Think about it. If you take the word nigger with the ER, right? That's a harsh word, right? Harsh word. If a 2-year-old baby walked up to you and said the word nigger to you, called you one, how would you feel? Would you want to beat her ass? Would you hate her? Would you want to fight her? No, what would you do? You say, who taught you that? You might laugh. Or there wouldn't be a vindictive, angry bone in your body. Somebody taught you that. You didn't learn that on your own. Somebody taught you that. It wouldn't move you. You wouldn't be hella mad talking about this 2-year-old baby called me the N-word with the ER. Oh, it's a baby. So you have the capacity, because the word is the same. You have the capacity to be unfazed by it. It's just the weight you put on the person changes. So if you put the same weight that you put on a person that you put the same weight of an adult that you put on a baby that calls you that word, you'll feel the same. It's just a word, whatever. Somebody taught you that. Matter of fact, you in a position where if we're on the other side of business, I might be able to tax you for that. But I'm not tripping. How you feel? It doesn't mean you don't play chess, you don't go to war, it don't mean nothing. Just you're unfazed by it. Not a big deal. I don't run around. I'm not gonna let you beat me twice. I'm not gonna let you beat me. Me being emotionally affected means you just beat me and you have an effect on me. In basketball, what we used to do is if there's a player on the other team who's hella good, but hell of emotional, want to fight all the time, he a tough guy, and he's a threat to us winning, man, hey, we'll tell one of our players, take a couple elbows to the team for the team. You might even get punched, but he getting attacked and getting kicked out the game, and we winning. Because he's not unfuckwithable mentally. So now your whole skill level, you being good and amazing, you're DeMarcus Cousins. Hella good. Coast to coast dunk, moves, post moves, footwork, everything. But I get in your head, hit you with an elbow that the ref can't see. You hit me back where the ref can see, and you go like this, I go like this. But he hit me first. Ref give him a tech. Do it one more time. Give him another little elbow. Pull his shorts down. Guess what? He want to fight. He lose it. Second tech, you out. Everybody on his team is angry because they're like, bro, you let him get in your head. You're affected by what he said. It's a strategy. A lot of us ain't no different than that. I wish you would. I go to 0 to 100 real quick. I checked him. I got to check this person. Honking. I'm honking, honk, honk, honk. Road rage, honking. You can't get from A to B. You can't get from A to B. And then, even after the event, you get there. You know what this motherfucker told me? And you spend the next hour telling everybody about it. Now you infect their energy with it. Be unfuckwittable. You can get into a debate with somebody, complete argument, complete disagreement, and have no feelings. Matter of fact, love that person still, maybe more afterward. You can talk to anybody. They can have completely different views on you, don't like you, it don't matter. Cool. Good luck. That's what being unfuckwittable is. All it does is it allows space for you to continually move at the velocity of the most effective you can be. Next.
We have a person that is not sure. That should lob. Testing, Samsung. Anyway, we have a person in the not sure category that wants to lob up a comment to you, and I think this is kind of cool because it's going to allow you to, especially you can really tear this up, really dive into this. But he said, this feels like Peter Pan. Or I'm reading it as a false expectation. Fear is human. It doesn't have to derail you. Hold on a second. Albert, move your cursor, Albert. I can't see past you. Okay, thank you. Albert just gonna park on top of the. Like, man, fuck your reading. Anyway, fear is human. It doesn't have to derail you. But I'm not sure about fearlessness being a goal.
Fear. Can you say that again? Fear is supposed
So the thing says, I'm reading this as a false expectation. Fear is human. It doesn't have to derail you. But I'm not sure about fearlessness being a goal. And I think you read the comment wrong. Because it said, instead of in the be fuckwittable, it says, instead they are truly at peace and with themselves and the world around them. They live fearlessly immune to criticism, just to criticism or praise, fueled by their own inner happiness and self-love. So I think it was just around the fear. Like right now, social justice is everybody living in fear of criticism. And I think the fearlessness, I don't think court is implying remove fear. In the context of this passage, is removing fear of people comments, which is really aligned with CBT, which is you live your life for approval, so then you fear disapproval, right? Or you fear negative judgment, and what he's saying in this thing is you get to a point where you don't.
Yeah, it's not living fearlessly. It's the dash means immune to criticism or praise, meaning fear is part of our nature. It's how we survive as humans. Fear is going to be there. Managing fear is where you want to be. There's many places where you can move and breathe and reduce or remove fear. This is one of them. But as long as we're alive, that's going to be an energy that pops up as a form of self-protection. But you do want to be in a space where you don't give a fuck about what people think about you, good or bad. Like, it's not a driving force. It's not a driving force. Like, that way, you can move in your true self. You can move in your true. That's why I love watching little kids. They are their true selves. They're in their authentic self. 5, 4, 3 years old. They want to dance, move, shake, scratch. They do, like, they don't look for approval of each other. So a lot of times we grow up trying to find some of the answers, and some of those answers is in your little kid. We end up trying to shape and change them and make them into little mini adults, and this is what the etiquette is. Nah, that's authenticity. Be like, who cares? Who cares what people think? When you get older in your 40s and 50s, you realize that most people was faking the funk anyway. They were unhappy, miserable, depressed. And they were looking at you as a means to either try to devalue you to make themselves feel better, or there was an agenda attached to it. So free yourself. It's not about living fearlessly. It's about being free and fearlessly moving from the approval and criticism of others. Let's go to the next one. I want to finish this so we can be done with this book, so we move on to the next week.
You don't get bogged down by petty problems and by other people's misbehaviors, grudges, and rivalries. You have no time for politicking, finger-pointing, pot-stirring, backstabbing, bullying, tattling, throwing under the bus, and other time sucks that fill the days of bored and unhappy people. When you're unfuckwittable, you rise above all of that. Instead, you're thinking of far bigger things, of problems to solve that could change the world and help others move forward.
Dope. That's dope. Let's move on. That's dope. I don't need to say shit.
train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose.
Okay, so the next two slides are attached because the next slide is the law of detachment. So train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. A lot of times, again, we will cannibalize our success because we want something so much. We'll cannibalize our own success. Everything that you want, you have to be comfortable letting it go. You have to be comfortable letting it go. A lot of times we in relationships and we attach ourselves to a person that we can't live without. Oh shit, you can't live without this person? That means your life is determined on whether or not this person was with you or not. Not as an entrepreneur, not as a well-rounded human. You have to be comfortable with letting in anything that you love, be comfortable with it not being there. That could take some time, but it's a reality that as a person who practices this law of detachment, it makes you more powerful. Because anything that you can't let go of can be used to manipulate you, or it could devastate you, or it could crush you, or it could kill you. Shit happens. You can be in the best love relationship and the person dies. The person gets hit by a car, or they decide they just don't love you no more and they want to break up. Not saying that it doesn't hurt or it's going to be devastating or it's going to be hurtful. Not saying any of those things. It's saying you got to get comfortable with the idea of the concept that you don't own nothing outside of you. You don't own a person. And anything material, you have to be comfortable with not having it. And from experience, the more I lived like that, the more those things came into my life easily and freely. Because when you move with an energy that you're enough, that's attractive. That's attractive energy. When you move with the energy of self-love and confidence in that you're enough and that I could make sandwiches and me and you can go sit somewhere and have the best time. Them the kind of people you want to be around. I had an amazing time. We sat at the park at Lake Merritt and talked for 14 hours straight because it was so amazing. We didn't need no Bentley. We didn't need no fancy shit. I didn't need no brunch at no fancy-ass restaurant with a view. It was me and you. Now, when you add those things on top of it, those are just icing on an already dope cake. So you got to be comfortable with not having. To me, that's why I said, when I say I've been a millionaire twice, that means I've had to have lost the shit. And when I lost it, that's why it was some of the most beautiful experiences for me, because I learned how to love myself without any material items. Nothing. Once I got comfortable with myself and was able to love myself and be happy and be detached from all the material shit that I had, now it's icing. I can have it or I cannot. No, okay, it don't matter. It's cool. Saying that is not the material thing. If you can experience something twice, that means the tool to gain it is inside. It's not outside. Not like you win the lottery. Like if I won the lottery, I'm fucked. Because what's the odds of winning the lottery twice? But the knowledge you gain, the experience you gain, the game you gain, the action that you take, the moves you make, the relationships you build, how solid you are, your integrity, all the things that we talked about, if those stay intact, who cares? You can make it back. You can do it again. Maybe better, maybe faster. Or maybe not. Either way, you good. So let's hit this this slide. Practice. I can read this. It's easy. So practice. High self-value, gratitude, be present. Those are three things that is a focus, and this is one of the nuggets in this book. So we talk about some of the gold nuggets of this book. These are some of the practices. AI is one of my goats. AI is my goat. That's one of my best favorite players ever. Anyways, you practice high self-value. I've given you the tools. Work on your self-value, your self-love. Be grateful for what you have, where you are. Acutely sensitive to the things around you that make you grateful for who you are. Third thing, be in the present moment. If you're always waiting to be happy when something happens in the future, you're distorted. Be in the present. 20 feet. Move sometimes with 20 feet in front of you, meaning you may not know what's outside of 20 feet. It's dark. You're going to Lake Tahoe. It's 9:00 p.m., and you're on that windy-ass road. Are you trying to worry about what's happening a mile in front of you? No. It's wherever your lights can see, that's where your focus is on. In life, in business, in the now, that's where you are, in the present moment. Get off your phone, don't worry about the way in the future, just worry about that 20 feet. And that's part of that. Those are major keys. Major keys.
Okay, just real quick before you go on, I heard this one thing yesterday, and it was asking somebody who's a professional learner, how do you know if practice is good practice? Simple answer, it has to be hard.
If it's not hard, it's not out. It's inside your comfort zone. You're already doing it. Has to be hard. Next slide.
Sometimes you have to destroy a part of your life to let the next big thing enter.
Oh my God. Oh my God. So I'll give one example. You guys know who Tiger Woods is. So Tiger Woods was already the best golfer in the world, killing, smashing records, doing his thing, killing. But he reached a plateau in his own game, not the outside world, in his own game. He realized he could only go so far. He had to break his own swing and learn a completely new swing. He already the best golfer in the world. But he knew that he hit his own plateau. He had to break his swing down and learn a new swing. And he ended up pushing himself even further past the rest of the crowd. Instead of getting comfortable, like, man, I'm already doing good. This is already working. You can't even be detached to what's working. You have to always be looking to upgrade and realize where you hit your plateaus. So a lot of us are justifying why we're sticking around with bullshit. But that bullshit that you're sticking with and justifying is what's also preventing you from getting to the next level. Can't say it no more clear than that. Next slide.
Extraordinary minds are motivated by a quest or calling, a drive to create some positive change in the world. This drive propels them forward in life and helps them to gain meaning and make a meaningful contribution.
Yes. That's game. I want to say something real quick about detachment. The law of detachment is not just in this book. For most of us, whatever religion you grew up with, Christianity, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhism, they all have a version of the law of detachment. So Christianity talks about when the dude walked up to Jesus and was like, hey, I've done all the shit. Like, what do I need to do? And he said, you got to sell all your stuff. And he was like, I can't do it. They were teaching the law of detachment. Right? Pastor Chris, I'm sorry. Muslims have a thing called zuhd, right? Zuhd is when they want you to rid yourself of all material things and be and live humbly. All religions have a version of it, wanting you to be conscientious about detachment. Just always have an alarm signal to yourself. When you feel, as you start gaining and getting more, whenever you start feeling attached to stuff, check yourself, because that can lead you down a slippery slope of attachment. Be willing to, whatever. It's just a thing. And then in terms of this is self-explanatory. This is called purpose. Purpose is what gets you to do the shit you need to do when you're not motivated. Purpose is what pulls you every day. So this is saying you have to be pulled by your purpose. And it's because you have bigger goals. You want to make a contribution in this world, a stamp. Last slide. Hey, you want to make it bigger?
There we go. Thank you. We have to be willing to accept the full journey that can occur in our lives. A relationship breaks up, but you learn from it and your heart becomes more resilient. You lose a business, but you use the hard-earned wisdom to start your next one. You lose your job, but you learn who you are beyond your career. You suffer a health problem, but you discover personal reserves you didn't know you had.
Yes. That's the beauty of all of this. That's why you thank the people who hurt you. You thank the tribulations you went through. You thank the problems. You thank the hood. You thank your upbringing. You thank where you came from. You thank, because if it wasn't for those things, you wouldn't be the bad ass that you are. The person capable of building and contributing in this world. Shit happens. That's life. Shit's gonna happen. And the minute you bounce back from shit, some more shit can happen. That's part of the game that we're playing, this life game. And if we're trying to build something bigger than ourselves, there's things in our blind spots that we may not be able to see, and the whole goal is overcoming the obstacles in our life to get to our destination. But learn from it. So accept the full journey. The reason why I added this slide is because a lot of times we just want to get to the good parts of the movie and then fast forward to the breakdowns or the tribulations or the hurts or the pains. But once you decide to accept everything that comes with it, you can even enjoy the tribulations. You can even find enjoyment in the problems, in the breakdowns, because you know it's making you better. Half of the motherfucking stories that I haven't told, are some of the craziest shit that you might hear, but I'm so grateful for them because it's not much that can break me. It's things that can break me, but it's not much. Because even when I'm weak or I want to quit or I start getting whiny or I start acting like a mark, I call on those times in the past to say, wait, time out, Court. Do you remember that this and this happened and this how you came out? Oh yeah, well, what am I tripping off of? This is some bullshit. You can call on those moments. So I asked of you guys to extract the nuggets in this book and use your velocity to take action. Don't run on the treadmill no more with this shit. Matter of fact, we probably ain't even gonna talk about this book no more. So the nuggets that you gain and glean from it, you better grab onto them and use them and create velocity to practice them. If not, it's useless. Any questions?
Before we go home, just want to say we're going to send you, look out for an email from the 510 Media Hope Foundation. We're going to send you the homework. We're going to send you the book that we're going to be working on next. And we're going to send you a podcast and a couple articles to read. So that should be coming to you tomorrow. And I just want to say, Court, great job. Thanks a lot, bro. Appreciate you. Hey, y'all know how it is.
And Ego is, so if you want to know what next book we're going to be reading and working through, that's Ego is the Enemy. So you can Amazon that thing, get a good head start on that book, because we're going to go through Ego is the Enemy. Get some boxes of tissue. It's going to break your ass down. All right.